My name is Felicity Robson-Rouse, and amongst other things, I sit on the board of PMA Australia New Zealand. I have the great pleasure of introducing these guys here and facilitating some question time this morning. But before I do that, I just want to do another quick survey on who, we're out of the retail space now, we're into food service. Other than last night, who has eaten out at a quick service restaurant in the last week? A few people? Yeah. Anyone been to a footy game or a sports game and eaten at a stadium or anything like that? Yep, Robin has. Yep, oh, Simon has. Good to support your industry, Simon. Anyone been on a cruise recently and eaten on a cruise liner? Yeah. They're the kind of businesses, or they're the places that we're talking about here. Food service in Australia, there's a couple of differing statistics, but I read on, I googled it last night, and about 42% of the dollars that we spend on food in Australia, and New Zealand is not dissimilar, is actually spent on food outside the home. Which is quite a lot of money, really, when you think about it. So almost half of everything the average Australian is doing, and whether that's a burger with a bit of lettuce and tomato on it, or whether it's something at a flash restaurant, or it's here at a convention centre, we are actually eating out almost half the time as we're eating at home. Now, in order to give us a little bit more of an insight into what's happening in the food service sector and really understand where that sector's going from a global point of view, but also from a more local point of view, we've got two experts sitting here on the stage, and I have great pleasure in introducing an old friend of ours, Simon George. Some of you might know Simon and his family. We're old buddies from the markets from a long, long way back, and I know that Simon's got some great stories to tell us about his business and the role that it plays in food service here in Queensland and the Northern Territory particularly. But before Simon speaks, I wanted to introduce another great colleague of ours, Rich Dachman from Cisco Systems in the US. And sorry, Cisco is a global company. Rich is based in the US. So these guys have a lot in common. They're both in the food service industry. Simon, how many DCs do you operate? 5. Rich, how many do you? 180. So similar. Both supplying, it's really interesting, both supplying quite an interesting and similar customer base. Rich also has like Simon and like myself, has grown up in the produce industry. So he's, whilst Cisco is a much bigger company than our businesses, he's actually grown up as a produce guy, as someone that his family business supplied a food service operator and was bought out by Cisco. So Rich is here today to talk to us about food service in the US, about some of the trends and some of the opportunities that they're seeing in North America, as well as what PMA and the food service industry are doing in the States to actually facilitate that increase in consumption that we've all been talking about this morning, but looking at the food service side of things. So, Rich, over to you, and then we'll ask Simon some questions.
Thank you very much. I'll start off. This is my first time in Australia, and I am in love. Magnificent country, magnificent people. I want to thank everybody for their hospitality. A bit of a bittersweet experience for me in a sense that I'm a coffee lover, and I will never be able to drink coffee when I go back because I can't even look at a Starbucks now after drinking coffee here for the past few days. It's spectacular, spectacular country. So I was asked to talk about what food service was in the U.S., which is one of the components of my talk today. And I'll say in advance that I've learned a lot in the few days that I've been here, and I may be a bit too simple in my presentation today because I didn't understand what you wanted to know, so don't punish me for that piece. We'll start from the ground up and go from there. I'll try to make it more complex as I go. We're going to talk about the type of food service businesses that are out there, grower, distributor, and operator, and what the distinction is between the two. food service is really a primary thought with a lot of people in the U.S. in the distribution, and it's not really an afterthought of what happens. Terminology is going to be interesting, how segments interact with each other. I'm going to talk a little bit about who our company is, Cisco, and then we're going to get into what we see due to some surveys, et cetera, of what the main trends are in the USA of what's going on in food service today, and Simon can relate that to what's happening here. So, distributor types. We have broadline distributors. My company is a broadline distributor, but broadline distributors are food service companies that carry multiple items, pretty much anything that the restaurant needs, frozen, fresh. Cisco, for instance, they have 77 what we call broadline warehouses in the U.S. We also have Canada and other places, but just to give you an idea, the average size of one of those facilities is about 500,000 square feet, and they carry an average of 10,000 items. Only a percentage of that is fresh produce, but all of these type of businesses, which are quite large in the U.S., carry fresh produce. It's one way to get produce to the restaurants. We have another type of business that's pretty big because of everything that Joe taught us not to do today. We have captured distributors, mainly for QSR and those type of restaurants. And I'm going to kind of explain that a little bit more, but a captured distributor is basically someone that the customer decides virtually everything that they sell. So Wendy's, which is a very large fast food distributor in the U.S., picks certain suppliers, and they tell that supplier, you'll buy your meat here, you'll buy your French fries here, you'll buy your produce here. And so it's a much different type of business. No one's going out and selling anything to anyone. They are a drayage distributor. So that's another type that's out there. Specialty distributors, which I see a lot more here, are people who just carry produce, just carry meat, just carry seafood, and they are servicing a different type of market that we're going to talk about, why certain people will buy from them versus broadline, etc. And we do have wholesalers, but I went to the wholesale market yesterday, and I was ecstatic. It's fabulous. Had good coffee there as well. And I will say that it brought me back of times when I was a kid. When I grew up, my father walked the terminal market, and we bought our potatoes here and our tomatoes here, and this person only had this brand of lettuce, and this person could only carry Driscoll strawberries, which I saw yesterday. That's going away to a great degree in the U.S. The wholesaler in my food service area, there's not a lot that goes on. It still happens, but a lot of the markets in the U.S. Have gotten a lot smaller. I grew up in a place called Denver, Colorado. When I grew up, we had a huge wholesale market. It's not even there anymore. It's gone. There's no market whatsoever. So a lot of the distributors and retail being able to buy direct and so forth had great impact on wholesalers in the U.S. In no way am I predicting anything that's going to happen here, but that's what's happened there. So what differentiates the distributor? So in other words, why is a broadline distributor what they are and they carry a little bit of produce versus why is a specialty distributor just carry produce and they can survive? Well, delivery frequency has a lot to do with it. So we have certain customers, restaurants, that want delivery 6 days a week. They want fresh product, they may have small coolers, whatever it is, they want delivery 6 days a week, while other more commercial type customers may be okay with 2 times a week, 3 times a week. That's going to differentiate what type of distributor, because specialty distributors can give a higher level of service, they're more nimble, and they're going to be able to deliver 5 to 6 days a week. If you're a big machine and you have 10,000 items and you have this huge warehouse, you can't afford to deliver someone 6 days a week unless it's just a massive delivery. So frequency delivery and what a customer needs could identify what type of distributor they want. Order lead time, again, If you're a big broadline company, I was at one of our companies the other day or a couple weeks ago, and their biggest night that they load, and they load at night, is a Thursday night. And between the time of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., they had to get out 125 28-foot trailer trucks, fully loaded with customers ordering 10,000 different items. So there's no room for exception in these broadline huge companies, while a specialty company, more like what you might see or what you might be used to, but we'll take orders off the recorder at 2 o'clock in the morning. If we have a customer that wants a delivery and they'll pay for it and we can make money on it, it qualifies. Size of the order, obviously, and inventory variety. So a specialty company is going to carry a lot more. If you're a white tablecloth restaurant and you're a chef and you want organics and you want all kinds of specialty product and you want all types of local product and all these different things we're going to talk about, you're probably going to lean more toward a specialty company. These broadline companies that are very, very big probably won't be able to satisfy your needs. So there's a lot of reasons why customers match up with certain distributors in the U.S., and these are a few of the reasons. Food service operator categories, restaurants. So there's quite a few categories, and maybe I went too far, I don't know, but this is the way I see it. So when we have restaurants, we have QSR, which is quick service restaurants. We talk a lot about those. I don't think any of my customers are here, so I'll say they're probably the least desirable customers in the sense that they really dictate what they need to do. And we're going to talk about how they buy in a little while as far as going to the grower. Limited service is a new segment that I have seen really wake up in the U.S. It's in between sitting down and having a nice meal and going to quick service. What it is it's going up to the counter and ordering the meal, and then you sit down and someone brings it to you, and it's generally higher quality product than a quick service restaurant. There's a chain called Panera, there's a chain called Chipotle, and these chains are becoming more and more popular because people want to eat better, but they don't have time to sit at a restaurant for an hour and a half and eat. That's sad, but true. And so this is called limited service, and it's very popular right now, and it's gaining great momentum. Family dining is an area what we call where we have these chains of restaurants that have hundreds of restaurants around the country. Darden, Cheesecake Factory, Brinker, which is Chili's and things like that. And this is an area that has been struggling because a lot of people with the economy, those families that go out and eat are maybe eating home a little bit more because of the economy, starting to pop back. There's also local chains, few restaurants that open locally within a couple state area, and of course, many independents. Travel and leisure is a huge part of our business. We segregate it separately. We're talking about cruise ship and hotel motel, or should say hotel motel and cruise ship. Huge business in that, very consolidated, very few players, and if you get the business, it's huge. The drops are huge, and it's fantastic business that everybody competes for. B&I, we call business and industry feeders. You have those here. I was talking to Simon. He services the same customers I do. The three major ones are Sodexo, Compass, and Aramark. These are people who do stadiums. They do business cafeterias. It's three of our largest customers. So it's a huge part of our business. Education, separate. Schools, colleges fall more in the business and industry piece. Public schools are almost a flat bid. A little disappointing in the sense that they're often based on cost and not quality, but we're working on that. Healthcare, another completely separate area. Because we don't drink enough juice, we don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, I get the benefit of selling hospitals and senior care, quite a bit of fresh produce. Bid and other, military in our country, mainly big business, again, single bid. So let me talk a little bit about what differentiates the customer categories. So when you have limited menu items in QSR, very simple business. If you look at, again, a Wendy's or a McDonald's, it's like 5 produce items. It's the exact same 5 produce items in every single menu.